is going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 91. My name is Zach Graham, your host here in the North End, joined, as always, by my good buddy. He's on record as my best friend. His name is Ian Michaud, and we call him E. Not a great time at Q2 Stadium last night, E. But a decent weekend overall, I think. We had Austin FC 2 on Friday. That didn't go as planned either. You and I weren't able to make it out to that. We had something come up. Got to go hang out with a group of friends that we don't always get to hang with kind of last minute there. And I think that paid off for us, not having witnessed the letdown in person on Friday, because I don't know if I could have taken two letdowns. And we're recording now on Monday afternoon, where my football team is playing tonight, and I feel like I'm just going to get another gut punch here. But how you doing?
Oh, I'm all right. It was a late night. Obviously, I was super excited, nervous even to be back at the Q. I forgot to eat enough. And,
You did.
had a rough go of it to start. Walked into the stadium, and I just started like sweating profusely, and I was like, okay, like this is not normal. It's feeling weird. So we will have a pretzel review. Pretzel review number 2, best pretzel of my life, saved the day. As far as our club, it's been tough, man. It has been really tough this season, and as great as it was to be back in the stadium, I much rather would have watched a win from the couch.
Or from anywhere.
Yeah, from wherever I was, on a bicycle, on my phone, whatever I had to do. But shit, it was not the outcome that I expected. Honestly, I knew that I felt a little nervous beforehand because I was like, okay, this is a game we have to get, and they're rotated, and we can get them, and we didn't, and that sucked.
Yeah, and I think again, it is not mathematically over, and we have 2 opportunities coming up within the next week to grab 3 points, and if you can do that, as far-fetched as it sounds now, and obviously we'll preview the Red Bulls match that's coming up on Wednesday later on this episode. But again, man, look, all is not lost.
Yep.
And it takes everything within my being to have a little bit of optimism here today, because it was just a flat-out disappointment last night.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, all is not lost, but that was just so ripe for the taking and would have just gone such a long way for what we're trying to do with these last games here in this season after a tumultuous season that, you can kind of salvage. You get into these playoffs and anything happens. I want to see more games.
Yeah.
I want us to have to play more. So it was just there. The opportunity was there. And that has been the narrative for this club all season. Opportunities squandered, chances squandered, chances missed. Like, it's just been that all year long. And I guess it seems foolish to have gone into that game thinking, having a good amount of confidence, given how that's just, that we've looked that way all season long. But man, we really could have beat that team, and we probably should have.
Yeah. And we'll have a little discussion about chances and chances missed a little later on in the episode as well. Before we talk a little bit about the lineup, we did get the injury report in the late morning, and out of nowhere, man, I was ready to tweet, look, the cleanest injury report we've had since opening night. Nay. Matt Hedges, Adam Lundqvist, and Kip Keller all listed out. Hedges was already questionable. We knew from press availability on Thursday morning that Coach Wolf had said Matt Hedges was dealing with a little bit of a hamstring issue. I think that had carried over even from the New England match, where they said he was feeling a little bit of tightness in that one as well. But he ended up out. Then Adam Lundqvist, random Grand Demon, got his ass too. And then Kip, we found out what the actual diagnosis was on him from his injury 2 weeks back with FC2, ankle injury. So he was also listed out. So that was already bad vibes, bad wuju to start the day. And then we see this lineup. And I think this is probably, to me, your strongest lineup in terms of just raw talent. I think there is an argument to be made for an Ethan Finley to fit somewhere into this 11. in that context. Maybe Memo. I cannot say Memo with confidence because I don't feel like I've seen enough of him to really have a good gauge on it. But when I saw the lineup, knowing who we had out, I was fine with it. And I think somewhat, the coaching staff is somewhat forced into playing this 11.
Yeah. I remember seeing, when you sent me the injury report, and I was just like, shit, well, there goes the 3-back with the 2 wingbacks flying up because, Lundy's done and there and, no Hedges. So I was like, shit, that's out the window. So then looking at the roster, yeah, we're trying to figure it out as well. Once we got that injury report, what are we going to look like? What's the form going to be? And I don't know, man. I mean, maybe it's just hindsight. I would have liked to seen Memo.
Sure.
I just think he has. Again, we haven't seen a lot of him. We have not, and I just think he has a little bit more creativity to his offensive game than Owen does.
Sure.
So I think maybe even starting Finley for Owen. Because you're trying to get. We haven't won a fucking game all year where we've been scored on first. So we got to get out to a good start, and we did, and we came out and we looked fantastic. But again, there is just a lack of offensive creativity from this club and being able to finish in big moments.
Yeah, I would say more of the latter because, in terms of what has been created, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I do want to go back to what you said about Owen. It was interesting. We saw Alex Ring playing that more advanced position up the field, and Owen was in that defensive pairing there with Danny Pereira. So that was certainly a choice, man. Again, if I knew Owen was going to be in that defensive spot, maybe I take Johan there. I don't know. Again, I think I'm just nitpicking at this point because, like you said, and like we'll get into here in a second, the chances were there. These guys have to finish.
Yeah. Look, I think that was a bad call because he was pushed up the field instead of Owen. And then we're not utilizing Alex to the best of his abilities. And he's able to push up the field with that connectivity from the back line to our attackers, to our Sebas. And he's able to make good passes both in the air and line breaking passes. So I don't really understand. And he's not a good finisher. I know he had the shot the other night and saved the day. He did. It was fantastic. It was amazing. That's just not what he's been good at his entire career. So, and we'll see it. It happens here. He gets 2 looks. Can't put either of them away. And I don't know. I just felt like it should have been Memo or Finley, and then Alex paired with Danny, in my opinion.
Yeah. I did just right before we get into the match here, because we obviously had a lot of talk on the last episode about that back 3 and how we thought that's what the coaching staff wants to do, assuming health. Just some stats, and again, it's a small sample size here, but you only get 34 data points from an MLS season, so it's going to be a small sample pretty much no matter what you do in the context of a single season. But 20 games with that back 4 this year, Austin is averaging 1.1 points per match, 1.4 goals for, and 1.7 goals against. And then in the 7 matches, and this was before last night, in the 7 matches that we've seen that back 5 look on defense with the wing backs flying up the field on offense, 1.57 points per match, 1.42 goals for, so that is essentially the same, but 1.28 goals against. So again, that is not necessarily indicative of the back 5 being some sort of savior here, or even the formation that is best for this roster. But over that small sample, that is what it says. Right. So not taking that as gospel, but it is interesting information, I think, to look at.
I would need to see who played in those formations and who was available, because sometimes, we were forced into different formations just based on the availability of the players.
Seattle's one of them on the road where no Seba, you got 90 seconds of Diego and they get 3 points, right? Yeah. Over a full season, that's not going to happen. Doesn't matter what formation you run. You don't have 10 out there. You're going to lose more than you win.
Absolutely. And this is 10's favorite formation. This is the one that he likes. This is the one that he, went out of his way. He's not a very talkative guy to say this is where we feel most comfortable, where I feel most comfortable. And I think that he was speaking for a lot of the other players as well when he was saying that, we all feel confident in this.
Sure. And, that's interesting, though, because we did not see just a straight 4-3-3 last night. It was really weird. There was a lot of room, as always, for Seba to float around, but he and Alex Ring were staying a little bit more central when they were kind of, I guess, more set, off a dead ball or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
John Gallagher was flying up that left side a little bit, but not super consistently. And I think it was our buddy Peach that kind of said it today in LDR, was like, we played with a right winger and a left back. And there was just no consistency from Johnny on that side in terms of his positioning. Not saying he wasn't consistent, but the positioning that he was, I imagine he's following instructions there. It just really wasn't exactly like something we've seen before. Like, it had, to me, like a whiff of what we were seeing at the beginning of the season with Jean coming up that left side, Kolmanich, for Jean and John just sounds so similar. But, when 23 was out there starting at the left back and really playing a huge role offensively, it seemed like that was the closest cousin I could see to what we were doing last night, formation.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's some sort of wrinkle that we tried to add to try to score some fucking goals. I mean? Like, I'm thinking about it earlier, and I'm like, we haven't thrown caution to the wind with what we do. We still have our core principles of how we want to play. It's just that we've had, any good organization isn't just going to throw the entire book out of the window despite the season. You know what I mean? Like, if you're in the middle of, you're not just gonna be like, all right, well, we're changing everything we do now. So I would imagine there's some sort of wrinkle, but again, the consistency is what was lacking, and it created a lopsided kind of, we had a bit of an overload, which I like, but we just didn't use it to our advantage.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the match here, because dude, right off the rip, first minute, and off the kickoff, actually, we play it back to Stuver. We've got that overload going on the right side, kind of that first kind of set piece that you see. Stuver boots it forward. The ball's headed up and then falls to Driussi, who kind of does a nice little box out there and turns towards net, takes one touch, fires a shot, and David Bingham blocks that out for a corner. That corner gets played short, and then it's kind of a cheeky little set play right off the training ground there. And I think it was Owen that played Rigoni through over the top ultimately here. And Rigoni tries to cross it, and it just floats into the back of the net. Yeah. And we go crazy. We're high-fiving everybody. Get ready to throw that confetti, and you look over, and the flag is up. So spoiled the early celebration. But again, that was just the first of many chances that Austin has here in the first half hour. There's a really long passage of Austin pressure here in the 9th minute. Mm-hmm. Owen finds Alex about 15 yards outside the box, and Alex turns really quickly and leads Rigoni down that right side. Not dissimilar to how we saw him play Johnny kind of through down that right side against New England for the first goal 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Rigoni puts a cross in, and it's right on Zardas's head, and his header gets deflected by Bingham off the post and out for a throw. So Nick takes a long throw on that right side and nails the target right on Julio's head. He puts it across the face of net, right to Seba. His header gets pushed over the bar by Bingham. It was a nice little passage of play here for Bingham in net as well. So that goes out for another corner. That corner gets cleared out for a throw on the left side. That means Galley long throw, and he's on target again, right to Julio's head. This time his flick doesn't find a teammate, but Austin stays in possession and works it back to that left side for a Galley cross. That gets headed out for a corner. That corner gets cleared out by Portland, but it's played back to Stuver. And this is where, and I was really upset at this, Stuver fires this long ball to Julio on the left, who's still up in the front. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand, even if you connect on that pass. From 40 yards out, is Julio just going to take that to the house? I just don't know what the thought process is there. And he ends up, he doesn't connect, and it just goes out, and we lose possession. And for all of that to culminate in that ending, because we had the ball for like 3-4 minutes in a row there in the final third. And to just give it away like that at the end, it felt like, to me, it's just like Brad maybe pressing a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't understand what he could be thinking trying to get that ball to Julio. And I mean, just an awesome start for us. And we can't put one in the net. Like, I just can't. It's just fucking crazy. Bingham was pissed. He's furious at his guys because we're all over him, and rightfully so. You look at the momentum chart on FOTMob, and it's just all Verde Green Hills. Like, it's just us the whole start of the fucking game. And it is just frustrating. And I can't imagine how frustrated those dudes are. You know what I mean? We haven't won a game since July. You come out like that, hit these dudes with haymakers, and we just can't put one behind the net or behind the keeper. And man, that it just hurt. It's hurting.
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel better at this point. I've eaten my pretzel and just watching.
Yeah, you were coming back. Yeah. Colors coming back to your face.
Yeah, like, come on. Tough.
Yeah. A couple minutes later in the 14th, it's just a note that I had. We won a free kick. I think John won it with drawing the foul. And Stuver puts this free kick straight out of bounds. And like, again, you can get some leniency if that happens once in a while, but back to back, I was just like, come on, man. Like, we got to value that ball a little bit more. And I know people roll their eyes at the possession thing, but like, we had every piece of momentum at that point. And they didn't want the ball.
They did not want to play with us. They were not trying to come out and play. They really were not. They just wait and try to hit us on a counter like everyone plays us. And with Stuver, like, I just don't understand. Because sometimes he'll dribble with it back there and like want to be like extra slow with it and really find somebody. And then sometimes he'll just launch these and they're just not highly successful balls. And you need the ball to score. We can talk about the possession shit all we want. You got to have the ball to score. So like, we have the ball, we're in possession, we're kicking ass, and just
and nothing falls. I pulled up real quick for those on the YouTube, that momentum chart. Like, I just don't know if I've seen a first half hour like this, where it's it is not 100% one-sided, because you see right here in the 6th minute, there is, I don't even know if you can see it on the screen that I'm sharing. Like, you literally have to zoom in, right, to see this little. You see that little tiny ass mound right there?
I see it.
And Mound is being generous. I don't remember what play that was from, but like, the fact that you go that first 31 minutes without Portland threatening at all and we get nothing is just. And I know that it's not like the guys they're not trying to score.
Yeah.
But you just have to be better. At the end of the day, that was not good enough. And it's been like that for a good part of this season.
Absolutely. I mean, just looking at that first 30 minutes, bro, it is just heinous.
Yep.
22% we had 72% possession. You know what
I
mean? Like,
through that point. Yeah.
At that point in the game, 72% possession. They haven't done anything. They've cleared a couple balls out and, run on to nothing dangerous.
Yeah.
And man, to be dominating like that, have those shots early. I felt like it was coming. I was like, all right, it has to happen. We're here.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say that they were defending well. Like, plenty of chances. 22nd minute here. Nick gets undercut by Claudio Bravo. And I don't understand how this is not a yellow card. Because it's a dangerous play. He lands on his head. Thankfully, he's fine. Like, he came down a little bit soft for what it could have been. Like we saw in Vancouver, 2.5 months back, when Rigoni gets upended by Ryan Raposo and he slams to the turf there and he's out 2 months.
Yep.
Like, I did not think that Armando Villarreal, I believe, was the name of the official last night. And honestly, I don't think he called a bad game at all, but I guess I just don't understand how a player, not just because he's an Austin guy, I don't understand how a player is not protected in that moment. And maybe it's just because in hoops, that would be an F1. Like, you can't undercut somebody.
Yeah, for sure. You just get a warning.
Yeah. 24th minute, Lima back on his feet, plays a great through ball here to Giassi. And to Giassi's credit, he really battles with McGraw here to get his foot on it and poke it towards net, and it goes just wide out for a goal kick. But I thought that was a pretty good effort for Zardes there, because he didn't have an angle on net, and he still almost put it in.
No, it was a great play by G, and it just doesn't go in. I couldn't believe he got to that ball. So I've watched it so many times now, because I'm like, how did he even get the angle with the step? And it was impressive. It would have been awesome if it went in.
Yeah. 26th minute here. Owen plays a great long ball over the top to Emmy, and Rigoni can't quite corral it. Stop me if you've heard that before. He would have been in on net if he did. Yeah. And he does end up saving it off the end line and cycles it around. And then Owen ends up putting in another cross right to G, and he chests it down to Alex, and Alex scuffs it. And again, that is what we get. We've seen Alex for almost 3 full seasons now. The first 2 in more of this, position up the field. And that's Alex Ring. Like, he's going to scuff one probably more often than not. And we got the ceiling Ring shot to save the point in New England, which is great. And we love him for it. And we know, like, thinking back to season 1, the absolute rip from outside the box against San Jose in that one, we know he can put it away. But this is part of what you live with Alex Ring playing that far up the field.
Yeah. And I mean, look, it's not an easy play. You know what I mean? He tries to one-time this off the volley. It's not an easy play by any means. And like you said, the ceiling is him banging it home versus New England, but it's just not at a rate that we can, really enjoy with him in that much more advanced attacking position.
Yeah. Or count on, right? Like, it's just 28th minute, Austin. Build up through Leo here, and he finds Ring in the middle. It was a nice find. He taps it to Zardes, and he slides it out to Emmy on the right. And then Zardes kind of give and go. He charges ahead. Same with Ring. Emmy cuts it back inside. And then he fires a really well-timed cross and well-timed run as well by Giassi, because this ball finds G all alone in front of Bingham. And he's probably still 10, 12 yards out, so it's not like it was just an absolute layup. But he ends up heading it over the bar. And I thought, again, as tough as that angle was, I thought he could have done better there.
Fair.
31st minute here. That is where you see that momentum start to change. Absolutely gorgeous outlet pass here by Evander to Esprilla running down the right side, and he plays Santi Moreno through. And Stuver makes a nice save here. And the rebound falls to Jimmy Chara, and luckily he scuffs it, because that could have been the opener there. 5 minutes later, Jimmy gets it out on the break again. He drops it to Evander, who's got space at the top of the box. And you and I have probably watched more Evander than any Austin FC fan just because of best ball. Like, we love that guy.
Yeah, like the fro.
I mean, dude, the look, the style of play, like, this guy does not defend. No. And he looks so lackadaisical.
Bored. Yeah, he looks bored.
Ball. Like, he looks like, I guess the best, like, comparison, and maybe our buddy Thomas will get this one, Kyle Anderson. Like, the way his game is, right? It's slow. It does not look right, but he's really successful and smooth with it.
He almost gets stoof.
Yeah, and, like, luckily there was not a ton of power on this shot, and Brad was able to gobble it up. But that guy with an inch of space at the top of the box, we're gritting our teeth in the north end.
He got everyone with that, because I didn't think he was shooting that. He just kind of like jogs up to it.
Yep.
Doesn't even put like follow through on it.
He's so saucy, dude.
just like using the momentum from the pass as the actual power on the shot was fucking awesome.
Yep.
Brad was pretty confused because he didn't even move. And I don't know why you would be that confident that wasn't going in.
39th minute here. Off a free kick by Bingham. Leo gets upended kind of by John. They were going up for a ball with Esprilla, and Esprilla stays on his feet. The ball bounces, and Esprilla wins a duel with Owen and gets into the box down that right side. And Owen not able to prevent that cross from coming in. And the cross goes right to Alex Ring. And I'm not sure what he's doing here, what he's thinking. He just puts it right back in the blender to the feet of Felipe Mora. And from 6 yards out, most guys in this league are going to put that home. And Mora does 1-0 Portland.
I mean, look, we have talked already about the big chances and like the way that we have been able to finish, and we will discuss it more on this episode. But again, defensive breakdowns, poor individual on the ball defense. Owen going for this steal on Asprilla. Asprilla is a grown ass man.
Yeah,
just keeps him off, and it's like, and then I don't understand why he's not full tilt, kicked in the fucking gears to get back on the ball. He's moving slow from what I've seen, from how fast I've seen him be able to move.
Yeah.
And after the initial mistake by trying to steal the ball from Asprilla, you got to be in lockdown mode. You got to get your ass back and get your body in front of the ball. I was really disappointed in this play from him. I do not know what Alex is doing here. I don't know if he potentially lost sight or vision of the ball as it's coming to him, because he looks shocked and doesn't know what he's, trying to do with this.
If you didn't know better, you'd say he's passing it to Felipe Mora.
Yeah, for real. And then even before that, the save by Stuver from the long ball, Julio getting beat on a defensive read again. And if you're not scoring and you're having these mental breakdowns on defense, it's going to be hard to get into the playoffs.
Right at the death of the first half here, we had 3 minutes of stoppage. Danny won a free kick as Evander took him down a few yards outside the box on the right. And Emmy whips in a cross, and it finds Leo's head, and he sends it over the bar. That's something I think we need to see out of Leo, because he is not always the guy that's up there. Like, when we have Giassi and Julio and Leo on the field together, those long throws, it appears, especially when the game is still, even and early, it's G and it's Julio up in the box as those long throw targets. But when Leo's up there, man, he is a tall guy for this game as well. And, I would like to see him at some point put one of those away, even though he does have fewer chances than some of his counterparts.
For sure. And Leo has really confused me since he's gotten back. He has at times looked lost. He's made plays that are just completely out of character from him, for that we've seen, like he just hasn't made before. Yeah. And he has one in the second half here as well. But man, out of the three right now, the dude I like the most in the air is Hedges.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Like, that's the one I like the most. Honestly, the flick on plays that Julio can provide from the long throws is a great asset of his. It's good. It works out well for us. But if we're talking timing in the air off a set piece, it's Hedges for me. He just seems to have a better timing than both of those other two guys.
Okay. I'll still take Julio, but it is close. Hedges he hasn't converted one yet, but your point still stands. I agree on that for sure. Getting into the second half here, 50th minute. Great long ball from Danny to John Gallagher, who's streaking down that left side, and he has plenty of space to get this ball in and pick out one of the three runners arriving in the box, but he sends it over everyone and out for a throw. We saw it wasn't just, Emmy had one of those in the first half where it was just skies one over the entire play. Johnny has one here. Nicky has one later on. I don't know if anybody played well last night. And certainly nobody put together a full 90. 57th minute here, you get an Owen yellow card for tackling Santi Moreno late. And I guess, but for the way Villarreal had been officiating this match, it felt a little soft to me. And then the 61st minute, with the Owen one, I get that he's late. Maybe that's where the caution comes out. But Julio gets a yellow here in the 61st minute just for sticking his leg out on Jimmy Chara. And the way that was a physical play in the middle of the field when Julio had the ball and they take it from him. And I don't know, man. I just, even on the rewatch, I didn't see a ton from Julio in the first 60 minutes to warrant that immediately being a yellow. But it was, and he was on warning still. That I believe that was his last game on warning, so almost got the good behavior bonus. But again, nay. And Julio will be out for Wednesday's match. So we'll talk about who the fuck could be available on Wednesday when we preview it here in a second. But what did you think about those two fouls? Because again, I'm not, I'm not too wound up about them. I just thought for how physical the game had been to that point, wasn't overly physical, but I didn't think those guys stepped out of line with how the game had been through the first 2/3 of it. And it just kind of seemed like there's no other cards till the 97th when Anthony's blocking Stuver. For all the fouls in that match, I just don't think those were the two that warranted cards. It's either those don't, or there were some other fouls, even on Austin, that did. So I was a little puzzled by that.
I mean, look, I could get it if Julio had been on a warning before from the ref, like had been talked to, had taken a hard foul earlier in the game, because if you're not going to award a yellow for the undercut, then I don't see how you can call a yellow here on Julio. And I understand that the game gets officiated differently as the game starts to develop itself, how physical it is. Have you had to talk to guys before? So I understand that it changes, and like, sometimes a foul in the 4th minute is not going to be called the way it will be called in the 58th minute.
For sure.
But when the precedent had been set that, like, they're letting the dudes play. I don't see why you could just bang, bang, pull out two. And there they are. And then we don't get another one till the end of the game.
Yeah. Well, 64th minute here. Portland in possession. They get it out to the left. I think it was Bravo to Chara there. So Jimmy Chara on that left. He's got space, and he puts in a cross that goes over Leo's head, right to Felipe Mora. And, man, credit to him here, because I think a decent amount of players would try to put it in themselves, but he pretty smartly chests it right towards Evander, who was all alone, and he just taps it home past Brad, who can't do anything in that situation.
I mean, this is one of the plays for me where Leo, what are you doing? He just completely mistimes this.
Yeah.
He mistimes it. Again, we get scored on when we have a majority of the dudes in the box. And it is a nice play by Felipe Mora, just good composure to just drop it right there. And, there's absolutely nothing that Stuver can do. But I don't understand how he mistimes this ball that badly.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, I mean, I think it's still fair to say that he's on the way back from missing 3 months.
Yes.
Right. He's played three. He's had 2 starts now, I think. But he just had 2 more weeks to get in the groove. So yeah, not an excuse, but we've seen better from Leo, and there's certainly better days ahead for 15 here.
And then look, now we're down 2-0. And it's now we want to turn it on. Again, we have the great flurry in the beginning. We don't get any fruit from our labor there. And we take our foot off the gas, and now we want to turn it back on again. And it's just we're not good enough to be like that. You got to be on go, full 90.
Yeah.
Every possession locked in.
I don't get. I understand that it's been a long season, and I'm sure for these guys, it's felt like almost right off the rip from St. Louis that the hits just keep coming, right? You're winning that opening match. The hype is almost at an all-time high coming into the season. Expansion team coming in. We're supposed to take care of business. And in an instant, not only does the lead evaporate, but you lose that match. And then 10 days later, it's Violette. And then it's Violette again. You can't get it done at home. And various losses in the league throughout the season. We've given up, franchise record number of goals in games, 6 to St. Louis. And you get beat by Chicago in Open Cup when you had a path to still be playing. And you crash out of Leagues Cup. So I get it that it may just feel hopeless for some of these guys when we go down, especially after this second goal. But you're professionals, man. You guys gotta figure out how to pick yourselves up. Somebody, maybe the guy wearing the armband, needs to elevate his vocal leadership in moments like that. Because I will say, man, Seba, he's wearing the armband, so he's the guy that I am going to look at first on the pitch. And his body language, not just last night, but throughout the season. I mean, thinking back to SKC, man, when he's throwing the fit on the ground and we still have the ball. And part of that too is the coaching staff and being able to foster that resiliency that this team had last year.
Yeah.
So ultimately, that's a failure on all parties involved. But again, the players, no matter where you're playing, you got to pick yourself up off the mat when you get scored on. And just time and time again, this team has not answered the bell in 2023.
Look, and I thought we had really turned a corner with the body language issue for the majority of the dudes.
Sure.
And this was the first game where you really started to see it again. The hands up in the air, the hands on the hips, the kind of disgust. And I understand. Like it happens in soccer. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Some guy's wide open and he's, oh, what the, my bad. Like, I get that. Like, that shit happens. But like when it's just, multiple guys who are kind of maybe sometimes not even involved in the entire play, and we're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It's not a good look for sure. And, there's just been this cloud on this season since St. Louis game at home. It really has been. And we have not been able to get our footing in any way to build some positive momentum. And now, I mean, this might be the worst stretch we've had all season at this point.
Yeah.
Like, this is the worst run of form I think we've had. So it's going to take a collective, I think, and you said you brought up the resiliency that the club showed last year. Another thing we're missing is we're just really not having that much fun anymore, and like when you're having fun with it and you're playing and like you can have that resiliency can be, it's a little easier to tap into. But when everything has been going the way it's been going, I understand the frustration, and I understand the frustration from 10. And I know how badly he wants to win. Like, you can tell this man, he likes to win. He's come out and said before, I want to win championships. Like, this is what I want to do. So I understand that he's frustrated, and fair or not, you're the best player on the team. You're our captain. You're going to get the brunt of the criticism at the end of the day. And you got to find a way to push through, brother. Like, we just need him to turn something around. And look, he keeps getting these goals. He keeps scoring. And you can see it where it's just like, yeah, that's great. But we needed you to put one away so we could go into the lead. Not that we can put this deficit down to 1.
Yeah. It's not like he's not trying. But again, that like superhero Driussi that we saw last year is just, it's not shining through. He's just still now like all-star level Driussi, I think. He's still scoring at a pretty high rate for the number of matches he played this year, but
he's still clearly one of the best players in the league. Like, it's clear as day. It's just that it's hard to be a superhuman. You know what I mean? Like, it's there's a reason there. So
let's finish up here. Not too much, honestly, happens in the rest of this one. 69th minute. Double change for Austin. You get Ethan Finley in for Owen Wolf and Will Bruin in for Jassy Zardes. And then 2 minutes later, double change for Portland with Frank Boley and Brian Acosta coming in for Felipe Mora and Jimmy Chara. 73rd minute, Julio misplays a duel with Frank Boley near the midfield, and Moreno runs onto the loose ball, starts the break. And to Julio's credit, he gets back, makes a great run to slide and deflect the shot out for a corner. And I don't think this is the only time. This may have been the only time that I actually noted it on my sheet here. But I remember at least twice last night just seeing a Julio mishap and Portland streaking towards us in that second half. And man, he's got to find a way to tighten things up, because these easily could have been goals. And can you imagine the uproar for all the people who are already on Julio's ass if one of these is converted? Man, he's got to find a way to tighten it up and get back to what he has been through the majority of the season, which is solid, which is fine, right? And he's going to have a break in the middle of the week here to think about it.
Honestly, it might be a good thing for him to just trying to get his mind off stuff, try to get shit right. Because these mistakes, you don't get burned every time, but when you do, it really hurts.
Yeah, 75th minute here, though. Julio, nice pass to Ring up that right side. Ring takes a peek at Will Bruin, who's making a run kind of towards the right side of the box. It's well marked. Ring cuts it back, and that Bruin run had opened up space for Driussi to run kind of straight down the middle. Ring plays a fantastic pass that drops in right behind the line, well timed by both players. Seba brings it down. Bingham saves the first shot, but then Seba buries the follow-up. Offensive rebound comes right back to him. So pulled one back, and 15 plus minutes to go here. We got a little life, at least. Like, fuck, man, at this point, can we salvage a point again?
Right. Yeah.
So, there was a little bit of juice there. 80th minute. Juan David Mascara comes in for Eric Miller there. And that, like, I think we were saying in the stands, like, man, even this Portland team can bring somebody like Mascara off the bench. It's just a different type of player than the guys we had on our bench. And it's no shade to them. Mascara is just a really good player. And we see this from the opposing teams coming into Q2 kind of time and time again.
Yeah. I mean, going back to the goal, what a ball by Alex. Just beautiful. And great run by Seba. And I definitely was keeping the hope, keeping the faith that we could at least get a point here. And it's just too little too late, man. It's too little too late. You gotta be better for longer.
82nd minute here. Moreno plays. This was maybe him and Alex kind of back to back. This was the pass of the night for Portland, I think. Moreno putting Frank Boley in one on Stuver. And Boley should have finished the game off here, and he hits it wide to keep us in the game a little while longer. But, man, like when we immediately in the north end go, oh, great pass, and it's not an Austin player doing it, you know it was something special. So, I wish they would have honored that kid's trade request a couple months ago. Get him out of here.
Right.
83rd minute here. Nasty collision in the box between Bruin and I think Zuparich. But Bruin gets up, has a lot of blood on his face, and trainers come out. They bring the stretcher out, and like he was pretty clearly concussed there. And he's, of course, Bruin trying to battle through it, stay on his feet, yada yada. They end up carrying him off, and apparently after the match, Phil West reported he walked out of the locker room, concussion protocol. But I think hopefully everything just starting to go through that protocol and moving in the right direction to get him back as soon as he can clear that. So CJ ends up coming in for Will.
He's not going to be ready Wednesday.
No, you can't. No, he's not. And so that actually moved Emmy up to the 9 there. And that may be what we see on Wednesday. Because it don't seem like, especially the interview that Maxey gave after the game, I don't know if we see him play again for Austin.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting.
Yep. 88th minute here. Julio, long ball over the top to Ethan down that right side. And Ethan heads it down back towards the feet of Alex Ring. And he half volleys it, kind of a knuckling shot there, and just over the net. So again, that's, when Alex connects like that, it's going to be dangerous, but just wasn't able to put it on frame there. And that was kind of the last gasp. Like Portland did a good job to close this one out. I felt like an interesting stat that popped up. I would not have thought this. Austin has scored 3 result-changing goals in stoppage time, which is second most in the league.
Wow.
So, and yeah, I mean, it hasn't changed enough results, but there's a stat for you. So 2-1, Portland takes all 3 points in Austin. Not good. What's that?
What did Maxey say?
It was, I think, I forget who was interviewing him, just kind of asked him, like, what are your thoughts? Why didn't you play tonight? And it was very supportive of like, hey, I'm just going to, support my teammates, support the club while I'm here, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. It's something to that effect. It was just like, seems like he's just kind of over it. And, we've known since he was pointing to the back of his jersey earlier in the season, et cetera, that just not seeing eye to eye what's going on here, and then his recent Instagram posts and all that. All right. 67% possession for Austin at the end of the night, 16 shots to 14 in favor of Austin. Each team had 5 of those shots on target, 7 corners to 5 in favor of Austin, and 13 of those 16 Austin shots came inside the box. And something we've talked about over the last couple of weeks, especially since the League's Cup break, is that FOT mob model of big chances created
Mm-hmm.
and big chances missed, which has been the theme lately. If you take a look, and I think this current sample since we got back from that League's Cup break, these last 5 matches is a nice little sample size that we can all look at and kind of tell a little bit of a story here. Over those last 5 league matches, Austin FC has generated 17 big chances according to FOT Mob's model. That's an average of 3.4 big chances per game. And during that same sample, Austin FC has converted 4 of those 17 big chances they've created, averaging 2.6 big chances missed per game. And if you look over the full season across the league, Austin FC is 5th in MLS in big chances created, behind only Vancouver, LAFC, Seattle, and RSL. So creating chances at an elite rate, a top 5 rate in a league of 29 teams. Austin FC is also 5th in the league in big chances missed, behind LAFC, Vancouver, Minnesota, and Seattle. So again, I think this to me points to, it gives some credence to what Josh has been saying and what we have been feeling about some of these recent matches, where we created more chances and weren't able to finish them, leaving us with the feeling like we deserved more than we ultimately got. And at the end of the day, we always talk about it. You can talk about XG and post shot, this and that, but at the end of the day, goals are what matters. And just Austin has not been able to finish their dinner, so to speak. But again, like we have been saying, not enough has been made about the poor performances of the players on this roster this season. And I think this is a huge indicator of that being correct. Because whatever system we are running here is generating big chances, according to FOT Mob's algorithm. Big chances at an elite rate in this league. I don't know what else you could say about being top 5 in chances created.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, the chances have been there. Now, I would like to dive a little deeper into that stat because we looked at our individual leaders in terms of big chances. It's Nicky and Johnny at 9 and 8, respectively, right?
9 and 7, and Rigoni at 6.
So we just know from our roster, the way we play, and that number, that a lot of those chances are from crosses and whipping balls, through the 18 there. So the quality of those chances, I think, could be a little skewed than your LAFCs, you know what I mean, who are generating things from Bouanga and things like that. But
sure,
your give and goes, your line breaking passes that get behind a defender. So I don't know for sure, but I'm just going to assume that because it's Nicky and Johnny, and can some of that come from long throws?
I assume so.
Probably, right?
I don't know. Can you assist with a throw? That's something I don't know. So to me, that would be weird that you can assist with your hands just because you know it's a throw-in. But I'm not sure. I'm sure somebody can help us out with that. But
I mean, look, like we're at every home game. We watch every away game. We rewatch every game
at least once.
And for the life of me, you know what I mean? Like, because I just feel repetitive and redundant. And part of the reason why I love being a fan in this community is because a lot of us are learning more and more about this game as we go. And I have been looking and searching and being like, all right, well, here's something that's pretty obvious that we could be better at, that could improve our ability to score goals. And then you just rewatch this Portland game, and it's just like, we just have to score. Everything it's right there. And like, look, the way we want to play and the signing of Giassi makes a ton of sense to me, because this is how we want him to finish, is with headers, with contested balls in the air, garbage man stuff. Like, that's what we look for in a striker. And I don't even know what more he could do in regard to finishing clinically with the opportunities that he gets outside of just being able to put the ball back behind the fucking keeper. Like, you get the first save on Bingham, the other one goes over the bar. Like, we have to find a way, and somebody has to find a way to push through. I'd love to see Johnny's name pop up on the goal sheet coming up here soon. But these chances have been there for the taking all season long. We have not made them. Some of it is bad luck. Some of it is poor coaching decisions. Some of it is just poor player performance. But they have all accumulated together, and one would assume that we could kind of regress back towards the mean of what we should be getting out of our expected goals and our big chances created at some point. And, that's been something that's been keeping me going for a while in regard to my optimism for this team. It's like, look, you just look at these, the opportunities that we have, like they're there, it's there.
Yeah.
And we have not been able to convert. And, look, we got this Red Bulls team, and there's going to be a lot of big chances in that game just from the style of play.
Yeah, you would think. In terms of those big chances missed, kind of like you mentioned, Seba leading the team with 9, right? Jossie with 6, Jossie with 8, Rigoni with 6. So again, those are the 3 guys that play the most in the attack, have the ball the most in the attack. Those 3 guys have to do better. Maxi Urruti with 4 also stands out to me. He's 4th on the team in big chances missed. He's 15th in the team in minutes.
Yeah.
And again, naturally, the big chances missed are going to come from the forwards, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. The guys who are getting the ball.
Yeah. Yeah. So then, like you look at a guy like Alex, who has not played a ton forward this year. He's got 3.
Yeah.
So again, it's been a team-wide issue, I think. Not being able to finish all of the chances we're creating, again, at a top 5 level in the league. So just wanted to have that little discussion as we move into the final 6 matches here.
And I mean, look, you are expecting to get goals from your 9, right? And all of our 9s, as Moochie awakes, all of our 9s are kind of the same fucking player, and it would have been nice to have a bit of diversity on this roster in regard to just a dude who can create his own shot, get his own fucking chances, because that's not what G does. As soon as the ball touches G's foot, he passes it to somebody else and he starts running towards the box.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with Bruin. He creates a little more space, but at this stage of his career, he's not going to be able to do some sort of individual brilliance where he's going to beat 2 guys and put a shot on net like fucking even Ryan Hollingshead can. So, it's just a difficult situation with everything we've dealt with this season to have just like this tray of food in front of us and we just can't get to it.
Yeah. Sometimes it feels like we're just throwing the tray on the floor.
Sometimes.
So that was just Portland's 2nd road win this season. Hey man, you need to get right game. You play Austin. That's how it's been this year, at least lately.
And look, we talked about it after the pod the other day, but we didn't speak on it on the episode. The weather advantage is gone now. That caveat that we had that was a little, you could be like, well, at least it's going to be hot as hell.
Yeah. But we never took advantage of it.
Again, opportunity squandered, opportunity missed. Now we need more climate change to kick back in.
Bring back the 106.
Pop these temperatures back up, baby. We need wins.
I mean, some positives. We got to hang out with Pollo for the entire second half. And Pollo is going to be the guest on this Thursday's episode. So certainly looking forward to that. Shout out to Jesse for coming to hang out with us as well. Shout out to our boy P. Mike Hayes coming to the North End. Hey, we love you, buddy. You're the best.
I told you after, I was like, half the time I don't even know what to say to him. I was like, you're the best, man. Like,
and then I will say, man, had some fun interactions with some Timbers fans after the match. We saw them down there trying to get the attention of some of their guys, and they were holding up like cuts of a log, which looks like, the Timbers when they're at home, they had Timber Joey every time they score. They cut that damn tree and then, they hold it up and that's like the piece of wood from that goal. Getting closer to those folks, they were like little Nerfy, just like replica, like stuffed animal type log things. And they had some like player signatures on there and stuff. So it was cool to have some interactions with some opposing fans, because you don't always get that, at least in, such a cordial manner.
For sure.
So shout out to those folks.
Who the fuck let them in with that giant piece of wood? Bring that their security. So I'm glad it was Nerf. Because when Rigoni was offsides on the initial goal.
Yeah.
Didn't count. I didn't see anything because I just turned around and started staring at them. Like, it's about to be a long night for y'all. And then, I didn't look at them too much after.
Well, look, turning right around, another opportunity to get some points here and try to hold on to the caboose of this playoff race.
Yeah.
Traveling to New Jersey, taking on the New York Red Bulls. Red Bulls this season, not good.
No.
They do have 30 points from their 28 matches, so they're 3 points behind us, but they've only scored 24 on the season. This is a team, this is a team with next to none in terms of offensive potency. Only given up 33 on the year, which obviously is, puts you in the upper echelon in MLS, or at least average, and not where we see ourselves giving up 45 so far on the year. They're in poor form, 1 point from their last 4 matches. And again, if you only have 24 goals, you'd think maybe they've got a Jesus Ferreira type guy who's really leading the charge. Nope. Frankie Amaya, Omir Fernandez, both on 4 goals. Fernandez leading them in goals plus assists with 7. And John Tolkien, their young fullback there, who is certainly going to go on to some bigger and better things, I think, after his Red Bulls career. He's leading them with 4 assists in the MLS stats. If you're looking at the FOTMOB ratings, John Tolkien also unsurprisingly leading this team with Christian Cáceres and Frankie Amaya in terms of that FOTMOB rating. I gotta say, man, like I am way more nervous about the style of play than anybody they're running at us outside of Tolkien. And if Dante Van Zier is ready to go, obviously he's got some talent. He's also a racist, so there's that. So we'll see what they run out here. But yeah, I'm not nervous about this team. I'm nervous about us being able to just handle the style, because we've seen certain styles. You can run teenagers out there and disrupt our shit. So that's my biggest concern headed into Wednesday.
Absolutely. This is not a talent thing for us. This is a matchup issue, the way they play. This team leads the league in fouls.
Yep.
They lead the league in tackles per game. They are second in possession 1 in the final third, so getting press and steals. So they play aggressively. They play up in your face. They're going to press our center backs. Julio's not going to be in the game. I'm interested to see what we're going to do there. Yeah. Honestly, off the top of my head, just based on the way that they fucking play, I think you got to go Alex and Leo back there just for a little more control. Because like you said, they're just going to come at us. They're fast, they're furious. They got some young dudes. They like to run. They foul. They're aggressive. They muck it up. It's a poor matchup for us, particularly as a team who's really struggling to score right now. You talked about their defense. They don't give up a shitload of goals. But, I mean, it's impressive how aggressive they can be and not be giving up and not be scoring that much, because they want to go.
Yeah.
It's weird.
They feel very beatable to me. But, again, who's going to be available for us? Because we won't know until game day, most likely, any update on the status of Matt Hedges and Adam Lundqvist. And, look, if Kip Keller can get out there and play and suit up, bring them. We need all hands on deck right now. So I guess just thinking about us, like, what do you think about in terms of rotation? We imagine that Will Bruin is going to be out. So again, like, maybe you have to call on Maxi Urruti here. But I think we can certainly see Emmy at the 9. I think you can get Jossie out there for maybe 60 minutes to start this one. I'm not sure. Obviously, that's going to fall on the training staff ultimately. But, if Lundqvist is out and we're shorthanded at center back, I think we're seeing the 4 back again.
I don't see what else you could do. How's Lundqvist going to be ready if he was out with a groin?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, and look, maybe some of that is precautionary, knowing that we have 2 other games coming up this week.
That's what I think with Hedges, not with Lundqvist.
Okay.
I think that with Hedges, so I do think Matt's going to play. I don't think that with Lundqvist.
Okay. So thinking potentially Hedges, Leo pairing there. Again, can Hedges go 90?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, that's why I said I think we need to see Alex Leo at some point.
Yeah.
Back there. But I do think Hedges will be ready. Look, as long as G's good to go, he's got to go. He's got to play. We need 60 minutes out of him. Obviously, Will's not going to be ready. That sucks. I've been relatively pleased with Emmy at the 9, doing 9 stuff. And if Maxi's ready to go, I mean, he should be. It'd just be a mental thing, I suppose, with him. Then, come out and support your teammates, bro. Come score a goal for us. We fucking need somebody to.
Yeah.
I mean, score a goal here, shit, we might start your ass.
Yeah, right. Oh, man. All right, let's finish it up. I don't know, man. Is this the day you're not predicting an Austin FC win? What's going down on Wednesday?
Man, it's I thought about it this morning. I was like, damn, I really might. Like, it's Wednesday. But no, the chances have been there, and we are better than this fucking team. And I understand how bad of a loss that was last night. But we're better than this club. I don't know what to say. We're better than them.
There's not many teams we can say that about, but I do feel confident that we are better than this team as they are currently constructed.
Yes, we are better than them, and we have to win. Like, we have to win this fucking game. You know what I mean? And I think, let's say it. We're going to get it done. And let's get away with a 1-0 win.
Okay, 1-0. I'm going to go 2-1. I think we put multiple goals up on this team. Again, the chances are there, and they will be there against this team. The way we handle this type of pressure, I can't say we give up or we hold a clean sheet here. Would love to see it, but 2-1 my call. And again, would be a huge 3 points, and again would just put you back with the chance on Sunday to get another 3 points. And then really be feeling okay getting 6 points out of the potential 9 this week. But fuck, man, you can't get 6 till you get 3. And getting 3 hasn't happened for over 2 months. So what are we doing here?
I don't know. The guys want it. I know just to get that off your back, like to be able to get that win and just have a breath and be like, oh, I can wake up in my bed after 3 points. Like, fuck. That'd be great for them. I want that for them. I want that for the psyche of this team. Yeah. So let's go get it done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's fuck them.
Yeah. Hey, I'm with you.
That's it. That is at the point we are at in this season.
Yep.
Doesn't matter who you are in front of us. Fuck you. We got it. Fuck what's going on. Do it.
Wednesday, 6:30. A little bit of an early start there. Full MLS slate for you on Wednesday. Let's talk some last business day here. Again, weren't able to make it out to this one, so some very abbreviated notes here, but looking at the starting 11, you had Damian in net, back line of Charlie, Sal, Alonso, and Anthony De Anda. Again, Kip obviously still out there. You also had David in the starting lineup, Bobo, Val, Micah, EJ, and AOC getting another shot up top. Sebastian on the bench, Cristo on the bench, Steve, John Santillan, Captain Joe, check, back from that red card suspension, Leo Torres, Spencer Sanderson, and Chris Pinkham. It was good to see those international guys back. Of course, good to see David still humming along, getting his legs back under him as the playoffs approach. And man, I mean, I guess unless you have anything else to say about the lineup, AOC gets on the scoreboard here first, and I mean, scored in two games in a row, right? Like, again, he's very opportunistic, but it's a good run of form from him. I think we have to give him his credit.
Yeah, I'm more than fine to give him his credit. What a strange season he's kind of had here.
Yeah,
and if he can get turned back up and get going, we'll take that.
It's also nice to see Pinkham sporting the mask look, because remember, broke his nose in that previous match. So, but in true Austin FC fashion, just doing their best first team impression. Austin scores in the 26th. Austin concedes in the 28th. That goal by Remy Cabral, who he also ended up getting a brace in the second half. So he's up to 16 goals now. I don't have the Next Pro stats up in front of me. That has to be top 3, if not leading the league, Remy Cabral. And I thought this was funny for anybody who does the DFS or the fantasy sports. If you looked at the showdown slate for Colorado against New England on Saturday evening, Remy Cabral, more expensive than Kevin Cabral, the DP for the first team. So Remy having a heck of a season there.
What
and
a
again,
year.
Yeah, I think Colorado just continuing to prove why they are the number one team, the number one seed out west.
Mm-hmm. They're a very good club. I'm looking at their stats, and you get Yappy as well. Like they're just a good team.
Yeah, I mean, being able to have Darren Yappy out there is pretty nice at the next pro level.
Mm-hmm.
We did get to watch like 15, 20 minutes of the end of the first half and start of the second half when we were out on Friday. Saw a couple clips of David just saucing multiple defenders, getting into the box and just not being able to finish off a couple spectacular plays. But it was good to see some of that, the juice that we've come to expect from him back out there, getting back into form, even if the team didn't get the result. David being ready to go here in a couple weeks when these games really count, win or go home style. That's good to see. Micah did pick up a yellow card in this one. We saw Sebastian Pino come in for EJ, so you saw that double striker look for about 10 minutes. Check Torre in for Anthony Deonda, both of those in the 71st. Then AOC comes out for Captain Joe in the 80th, and in the 89th, John Santillan came in for Micah. 2 time-wasting yellows given here to Rapids 2 in stoppage time. Austin not able to put one away. So the 2-1 loss here, that puts Austin FC to still, luckily, in third position after Sporting KC2 lost last night. So we've got some decision day pressure here. Going to take on, we'll have the preview for North Texas on Thursday's episode after the Red Bull match. That match will take place on Sunday, just like the first team against the Galaxy. So we're setting up here on decision day. Sporting KC matching up against St. Louis City 2, who is just a point behind them. Austin FC 2 with a 2-point gap, a 2-point advantage on SKC in third. So a shootout win or a win outright will clinch the third seed, the right to choose our own opponent out of the 3 remaining teams at that point. But Tacoma took care of business. They're the 2. Colorado's the 1. So battling for the 3 seed on decision day. And luckily not going to drop below 4th because St. Louis could end up equaling us on points and on the wins tiebreaker, but they would have to beat SKC. They would have to make up 9 goals of differential to tie us. So third, fourth is what's going to happen, and we'll preview that match. But big game coming up against a rival, North Texas SC. That's FC Dallas.
Yeah, they're not going to roll over for us. Obviously, a team that we're just better than at the end of the day, and we should get this job done and be able to lock up home field and pick our opponent.
Yep. So looking forward to that one for sure. We'll be able to watch that one before going out to see the first team take on the Galaxy next weekend. Real quick, let's close it out with the typical nonsense here. Best ball update in week 28. Texas Ring of Fire comes out on top, 56 points on the week, even though they caught a DNP from Leo Messi and Lucho Acosta was suspended. 15 points on defense from Brooks Lennon, 12 from Christian Espinoza, 11 from Brandon Vasquez, and 10 from Carlos Vela, 56 points. They take down week 28. Northern Podcast, though, in second, 50 total points behind 13 from Ryan Gold, 11 from our boy Cucho, and 9 from Chicho. 46 points for Moon Tower. Buanga with his brace, 13 points. That was their high score, and We Are Austin TV remains in the mud. 35 points on the week. They were without Walker Zimmerman. They had 4 of their 5 forwards put up just a single fantasy point. They did get 9 and were led by those 9 points from Driussi. Also 8 points from Jose Martinez and our boy Yorgos Yakumakis. But not enough to bring him out of last. So looking at the full standings through 28 weeks, Northern Podcast remains in the lead at 1286. Moon Tower, 10 points back, 1276. We Are Austin. Gap is closing between them and Texas Ring of Fire. 1189 for We Are Austin, 1141 for Texas Ring of Fire. Let's close out episode 91 with the bets. In the week 32 picks recap, that Driussi goal was meaningful for us. I think, as they say, significant to some. We miss on Austin, of course, minus 120. New England takes the L at Colorado. Miami without Messi gets a loss against Atlanta. Those were plus 170, plus 150 respectively. Montreal draw at home, minus 120 does not come through. And Dallas draw at home. We needed that. So plus 130, perfect bet, never fails. Vancouver plus 130, nice call by you. Driussi plus 180, thank you, Seba. And then 2 weeks in a row, the ZG teaser comes through. Philly, Buffalo, and Dallas, 7-point teaser, plus 120. That was the 2-unit hammer, and that comes through. And of course, we'll make some our NFL special picks on Thursday's episode. But probation lifted because I think that 6-team teaser you sent me and I didn't look at before the last pod, you showed me yesterday. That one hit.
It did.
So probation lifted. You're back. And we're, again, only MLS bets here, but we'll have some more NFL specials on Thursday's episode. I'll let you start us off here. Week 33, where are we starting?
I'm looking forward to the NFL bets, baby. We're back, baby. Come on. You know where we're going, where we always go. The 5-1-2. ATX plus 300 at New York Red Bulls.
I will take it. I really don't think we should be 3-1 dogs here.
I know. That's why I'm laughing.
Yeah.
300?
Yeah.
300? Like what?
Yeah.
I mean, we're the only ones who think it's crazy.
Well, just wait till we cash those 3 units. I'm going to stick with it, man, because he keeps scoring. Seba to score, no odds yet, but I imagine that will be plus 250. The way they're giving us plus 300 for the win, like that might come in at a real nice number. So Seba to score again. What you got next? I'm
going to LAFC. Get them at plus 150 at St. Louis. Tough place to play. St. Louis, good club. Just think LAFC is more talented, and this is winning time. This is crunch time. You got to get the job done. So I think they pick up a big 3 points on the road.
All right, I like that one. I'm going to go perfect bet here, and not necessarily a perfect bet because we would still welcome a draw with this one, but RSL out in front of FC Dallas and FC Dallas on the road here. They are also plus 300, so we'll take FC Dallas plus 300 on the road at RSL, and I'll pass it back to you.
All right. Well, Messi's back, so Miami's minus 255 versus Toronto in Miami. So we're going to go ahead and bust out the hammer on that one. 2-unit hammer, Miami minus 255. Yeah,
we'll pick up the crumbs that will reward us with, but you would think they get it done here. Must-win situation for them against one of the worst teams in the league. I'm going to go to one of the best teams in the league, Philly, on the road at Charlotte, getting them at plus 165. I don't think I need to explain that one too much. Been riding Philly all year. Hasn't been the smoothest ride. Yep. But crunch time here, Philly plus 165, lock it in.
It's definitely been a better ride than taking Austin every week.
Yep.
All right. And for my last one, I'm going to go ahead and take the Sounders going into Colorado, get them at plus 155, lock her in.
Yeah, I like that one. And then SKC minus 120. They're hosting Nashville. Just a narrative bet here. Hedging my happiness once again. We want a Nashville win here, but if SKC is going to get all 3 points, then we're going to pick up some units as well. So that'll close out the week 33 betting card. He's got Austin to win at Red Bulls plus 300, LAFC to win at St. Louis City plus 150. He's got Miami minus 255. It's a 2-unit hammer hosting Toronto, and Seattle plus 155 on the road in the elevation at Colorado. I've got Seba to score, no odds yet. Dallas to beat RSL in the elevation plus 300. Philly on the road at Charlotte plus 165, and SKC minus 120 hosting Nashville. Those are the week 33 betting picks, and that will wrap up episode 91 of the North End podcast. If you've got 5 seconds to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast, wherever you get your podcast, we would greatly appreciate it. If you've got a friend who likes Austin FC and likes podcasts, hey, make sure they're listening to the North End podcast. Get us in your buddies' content rotation. Of course, if you're watching this episode on the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, help us grow the podcast. You can hit the notification bell to know when a live stream pops up or a new episode goes live. And of course, on this episode, hit that thumbs up button, like the video, help us battle the YouTube algorithm overlords, atone for your sins wash yourselves clean in the waters of the North End. We're back on Thursday, recapping Austin FC's matchup against New York Red Bulls, talking to Pollo about that new beer collab, previewing Austin FC's matchup, reunion, potential funeral of the season, depending on how it goes, against the Galaxy, previewing Austin FC 2's Decision Day matchup against North Texas SC, talking the nonsense and everything that happens between now and then. We really appreciate you tuning in, rocking with us here. Try to enjoy that beginning of the week, and hopefully we've got an infusion of 3 points here on Wednesday. And we'll see you back here on Thursday. Until then, Heezy, I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Goodbye.